Okay, here we have the Shanghai Eye explaining to us, is China winning the AI race? Let's see what China has to say, people.
Again, the spotlight is on China's AI development. But this time, the rise of local AI startups are still in the show.
有想过 DeepSeek 会在目前这个时间段推出吗？
我觉得这个时间
It's very
非常
prompt.
的及时。
Chinese firms have been working on AI for at least as long as their foreign counterparts, and the sector is no longer just dominated by the big tech titans such as Alibaba, Baidu, and ByteDance. There has been a shift. And if we're talking about AI development in China, there's
Right.
one company that you simply just can't ignore.
DeepSeek.
SenseTime
SenseTime.
once topped world's AI startups by value. The company listed in Hong Kong in 2021.
2 years ago, the firm launched foundation model sets, becoming one of the first Chinese AI developers to have released a large AI model following ChatGPT's debut.
整个这一层是
This is our reception area, and the 3 floors upstairs are for office area.
员工的办公区，
你有多少个员工？
We have around 1,000 people here.
I met with Yang Fan, co-founder of SenseTime.
其实上它16、17
SenseTime has invested in around 50 to 60 companies since 2016. One of them is the Among Rising, 6 Small Tigers, in Hangzhou, Brandco specializing in brain-machine
脑机接
interface.
口的那家 Brainco 啊，那家其实我们还投了它蛮多的。
就是16、17年，在其实 AI 大模型还没有进入大家的视野的时候，
At that time, the public just had a concept of AI.
The company was established in 2014, initially specializing in visual AI. Last December, it announced a major organizational restructuring to shift its focus towards generative AI technologies.
Where the music
比较
changed
大
all
的
of a
几个
sudden.
分拆出去的业务主要是
其实最大的
The biggest independent part is the automobile sector.
I chose Wix for my business because of
Oh my
its
God,
massive scope
yeah.
for functionality.
Even Shanghai Eye is doing ads.
Medical care, retail as independent segments. Employees can get better promotions. And it's gotten easier for fundraising. Because many industrial applications are still at early stage, which requires huge investment, so turning them into small companies means they can be stronger in adapting to the market and
贴近市
clients.
场、贴近客户的能力也会越。
Last time we talked was April 2024, when he said,
我们发布的
was a
最
year
新
ago.
版本的模型可
The
以
new
在
model we've
手机上
launched can run directly on phones, which can save 90% of the computing expenses compared with that on the
节
cloud.
省90%的计算开销。
this time, he's talking way more about applications.
市场是
The market is the most important key to determining tech upgrades. China is now the world's biggest industrial country, with the most complete range of industrial categories. So this could bring a huge new amount of scenario
提供大量的产品
demand.
需求。
The applications are not just about the industrial use of AI, but also about large model services. In 2022, the company opened one of 8
See, it's not whether this is true or not. I mean, that's not even up for discussion any longer. The question is, how did the US let this happen? Why did the US let this happen? Who is responsible? Who is responsible for letting this continue to happen? And what are you really going to do about it? And, it just seems to me there needs to be more investment within the US for a stable, robust research infrastructure, and not just these desperate Hail Mary, billion-dollar startup investments that probably will lose out anyway. And at the end of that, it'll be an economic collapse. Instead, you should invest that money into research so that no matter what, you keep churning out research. And then based on that cutting edge research, you create companies. But yeah, it's bizarre.
Asia's largest AI data centers in Shanghai.
现在大概
Our
是
data
2万
facility now has a capacity of more than 23,000 petaflops.
大概有20多个头部的
It can support dozens of companies to simultaneously train their large AI models, each containing tens of millions or even trillions of
千亿
parameters.
甚至万亿，就是今天业界顶级的这种主流的模型。
就是国内目前我们大头在华东，
大头的
Most of the facilities are in East China, mostly in
对
Shanghai.
对，因为现在整体上来讲呢
Since the AI model wave, Beijing and Shanghai have become the most active areas. There is a lot of good talent and many innovative companies. So from this perspective, we can offer good support
我
infrastructure.
们从 AI 平权的角度，更多的还是说去赋能给他。
With that infrastructure, the company has set up a platform.
So it just seems to me that the way that China did it was very sensible because they said, well, no matter what, if we want to be competitive in the world markets, if we want to take the lead, whatever the next thing is, it's very clear that humans and society consumes more and more electricity. So more likely than not, the next big thing is going to require a large electric infrastructural network, which they already knew for a couple of decades given electric cars and the move towards green energy. And so having the electricity in order to support companies like this just off the bat, and then being able to think outside the box, especially with China's speed, to buff the energy needs, it's easy for them.
Where users can choose from a variety of open source large AI models.
我觉得可能整个中国甚至全世界的 AI 从业者
AI professionals from around the world have had a busy spring festival this year. We have also immediately introduced DeepSeek into our platform.
就今天在大庄
So what they're doing is commoditizing the software so that it'd be hard for any Western country to have a dominance, because all that the US has right now is the software specialization, and so it strategically plays into China's hands to open source everything. There's nothing the US can do about it because they have the population, they have the support, and if you make something open source, everyone around the world is just going to use it if it's the easiest, cheapest option. And so more likely than not, they're paid for or commercially supported open source techniques for the short while at least is going to handicap the US quite a lot, because they have cheap hardware right now, and hardware is really where they are where they have their greatest advantage. And in some fabrication techniques, the West still has some advantages for chip manufacturing, for example, like the US loves to beat its drum about, but it's only a matter of time before China figures that out or finds an alternative way of getting the same or better chips. So this is a very intelligent strategy by the Chinese to just open source, and so that way the entire world is effectively financially incentivized to outcompete the US in their closed source models. This is why Sam Altman is so scared.
制我们也可以去提供 DeepSeek 的模型服务。
The rise of DeepSeek has come like a game changer.
部署 DeepSeek 的那个
The server that allocates DeepSeek has been expanded in capacity twice in a very short time. The usage volume has grown several hundred times.
几百倍的一个使用量。
Users come from all industries. Smart.
See, DeepSeek doesn't have its hardware servers. It seems like it sources its hardware from these cheap cloud services that China had, which is what I was saying for a while, that US cloud services are way too expensive.
Phone design, finance, internet technology.
And again, OpenAI tried to make it cheaper a little bit with their APIs and stuff, and I appreciate that, but it's very clear now that it was way too little, way too late, and yeah, let's see what happens.
And AI developers. More than 1,000 of them have joined.
超出想象的还有很大一类用户。
It was beyond our expectations that such a large number of users are using DeepSeek to acquire data
通过这个
and
获取
further
到的数
train
据
their
再去
own
训练他
models.
自己的模型。
因为商汤自己也有大模型。
是的。
您怎么看这个 DeepSeek 带来的这个大模型？对我们来说，我们把它看作一种合作伙伴的形式，还是更多的是一种竞争对手的形式？
我觉得其实今天业内大家还是这样的一种互相促进。
Now, companies in the industry are progressing together. Recently, OpenAI, Elon Musk and Kimi have all launched new models. We will also launch a new model next month. What we are doing is a multi-mode model. Currently, many of the models are based on language. But when human beings are thinking about a question, they have words, pictures, videos and audios in mind simultaneously. So we want to make this a kind of complex model. So everyone is exploring in different tech points. Today, we still have a long way to go towards artificial general intelligence.
理想还有相当长的一段道路。
Most of the
Right.
models Yang mentioned are usually called foundation models in the AI world. All are struggling to become one of the smartest brains.
我觉得到最后可能背后支撑底层的那个最聪明的那个大脑。
By the end, there will just be 3 or 5 of the smartest AI brains in the world. If your ultimate aim is to develop such models, I think you are not aiming at a profit for at least 10
之
years.
内，你去追求盈利这件事情本身就是一种悖论。
深他会想成为那3个
So again, they've been given deep buckets to effectively what they're doing is they are running a marathon. And they've been given deep buckets, and they're going to just see like who runs out of steam first, who runs out of resources first.
API 之一吗？
这是个好问题。
I mean, effectively, they're playing the same monopoly game of American large monopolistic companies. They're playing the same games, but just on the US as a whole.
Our key is to have a strong service capability with our infrastructure to lower the industry's costs. Even if you have a very smart AI brain now, you will not use it to directly serve clients. You will use it to teach some smaller student models with their strong specialties in specific areas which can then serve clients.
这些学生可能在特定的领域，他有更强的专业性，然后让这些学生去做服务。
我们开始研究大模型
So I seem to see this trend in China where it's a strategic decision in order to try to use AI infrastructure to disperse AI in smaller and smaller models in order to improve efficiency across the board. Because this seems to be working for them. It's got them here now. It wasn't a single major breakthrough that gave China the advantage it does, but it was building out the ecosystem. And so taking that AI and saying, okay, let's build the ecosystem, put it everywhere, and continue to improve efficiencies across the board, and then see what happens. And that's the strategy that China is going for. As opposed to, whereas in the US, it seems like it's mostly just like, let's build one big brain that can do everything. But in the meanwhile, everything else is mostly the same. And I think that's mainly because, self-driving was such a failure. Let's just be honest about it. Self-driving has been a complete and utter failure so far. So, essentially, just because the US has not approached self-driving intelligently, and it hasn't done it with discipline. So again, there were too many Hail Marys and stuff like that. So it's
哪个是积极的？
我们自己内部最早
We started as early as 2018. I think SenseTime was the earliest to have a 1,000 GPU cluster. We started with visual AI models. And then we had a thought that we can combine all the data together and train a super large model, so that it can help us solve all our
有一个
problems.
想法，说我们就应该把所有的数据都合在一起，训一个超级大的模型，然后这个模型就能够把它看得到的所有的视觉问题都解决掉。
Until recently, the AI performance race involved spending a lot of money. The big question has become who can make the best use of the technology and keep costs to a minimum. That would be the key to maximizing profit.
SenseTime Semi
Yeah, of course. That's the advantage, right? So the Chinese at this stage are very, very good at being, let's say, economical about their budgets. So they're betting they can do a better job.
The annual report last year showed the company's revenue rose more than 1/5 from a year previously. Net profit rose more than 18%. All signs are that its focus on AI services for corporations has worked.
C 端市场在任何一个细分品类上
For to C applications, like in any other industries, there will emerge just 1 or 2 dominant players.
Right.
But for to be applications, it will not be this concentrated.
Right. So, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
There could be 5 or 10 players able to survive. With more open source tech, there will be more people with a better understanding of products and the market entering the industry, which means a much lower entry barrier.
简单就是说门槛确实会得到一个极大的下降。
过去4年，我们看到很大一批的 AI 企业
Okay, so his business interests are just to push it out there as a service, and then whatever you want to use it for, it's up to you. But we're going to build these general models, and so just get other businesses to compete with each other. But as long as they compete with each other on his platform, that's his end goal.
企业涌入市场。
对，
您还会建议更多的中小企业的成立吗？
我觉得其实 真正的场景和需求还有大量的没有被打开。
There are still a large number of scenarios and demands yet to be explored. So I suggest first to find the real key point from the application side, and then figure out how to use AI to solve it.
而是今天到底在什么行业存在什么样的挑战，它有可能被 AI 去解决。
所以需求决定，
我觉得是。
To see how smaller AI startups are tapping into this wave, I went to this firm in Shanghai which specializes in offering AI services for education and industrial manufacturing.
一年能进多少个项目？现在？
看项目大小。
Some 10 or 20. Some of them could be worth more than 10 million or even 100 million yuan.
级别以上吧，算是相对大一些。当然，上亿的也。
I don't know, man. How much is that in US dollars? I'm not familiar with this conversion.
也有。
几几年开始，我们开始接到这种几千万以上的大项目了。
So 1 Chinese yuan is 0.14 US dollars, so divide by 10. Okay, so I guess between $1 and $10 million.
应该在2。
But again, with purchase price parity, it means something different.
Since 2020, there are more larger projects related to industrial manufacturing or other industries.
产线啊，整个产业啊相关，所以在这个过程当中的话呢，它就会整个的需求和规模它就会提升。
我们自己有在做这方面的大模型，还是更愿意去拥抱一些已经开源的大模型。
之前呢。
We have been developing our own models, but we are now interested in using some open-sourced big models. I think in the following years, more than half of our projects can take advantage of the open-source models.
The reason the company is embracing more AI models from outside rather than basing its development on working with its own foundation models is simple. To save costs, which Meng predicts will eliminate 30 to 40% of the company's potential expenses, and also to make things move more quickly.
肯定能节省，我觉得。
I can at least save a quarter or even 1/3 of the development time. We prefer to choose DeepSeek because it can understand Chinese culture better and better suits our commercial operation.
对的，而且一些从我们中国人的理解角度出发，包括我们商业化运营整一个，那肯定我觉得对那个来说还是它更加的适配。
The company currently has some 20 core employees and is closely working with professors and students from prestigious colleges. Most of its business is based on projects or customer requests. So far, it's keeping a healthy profit. In January this year, the company filed for an IPO on Nasdaq and is hoping to be listed on a board in mid-2025.
大势我们觉得已经到这个。
The big moment has arrived, and time will not wait for you. We have to be fast.
必须快。
It was a very good explainer video. I mean, it was just very sexy and very slick and good details, good editing. And it makes you really excited about the potential for AI. So there was none of this hyperbolic crap like AI is more important than the wheel. Or it just, hey, we're respecting the people we're talking to. We know that you know what a paradigm shift is. We don't have to break it down for you as if, you're a peasant or something. So I think it did a really good job of not infantilizing the audience and gave a good overview and got you focused on SenseTime as the number one, service provider for cloud AI resources in China. So in other words, if you were someone that was looking to move to China and you wanted to get off the ground super fast and just get things going, just SenseTime is the one to go for. So, interesting.